Imagine this, you're with your partner, the atmosphere is just right, the air charged with anticipation. You reach for a little blue pill and physically everything falls into place. The plumbing is online as promised, yet something essential is missing. The spark, the hunger, the raw drive that once made these moments electric simply isn't there. Instead of passion, there's a mechanical going through the motions, a technical fix for what feels like a much deeper, more human problem. This scenario is an all-too-common reality for countless senior gay men. For years, we've been told that erectile dysfunction is a straightforward issue, a predictable byproduct of aging and compromised blood flow. The narrative is simple. As we get older, our bodies slow down. Doctors focus on the mechanics, blood pressure, prostate health, cardiovascular function. And yes, these are important factors. An aging body does face physical challenges. But this perspective overlooks the most vital sex organ of all, the brain. Arousal doesn't begin in the bedroom. It starts in the mind, ignited by a single powerful neurochemical, dopamine. You've probably heard dopamine described as the pleasure chemical, but that's a misconception, and it's the key to understanding what's really happening. Dopamine isn't the chemical of pleasure, it's the chemical of pursuit, the engine of motivation and anticipation. It's what gets you off the couch, fuels your desire for connection, and propels you toward reward. Pleasure comes later, courtesy of other chemicals. Dopamine is the go-it signal, the ignition switch that sparks desire. Now let's apply this to the experience of aging. As our bodies grow older, the physical engine may need more effort to start. It requires a stronger signal from the ignition. But what if that go signal, the surge of dopamine, is weak or depleted? Even with a perfectly healthy body and a deeply loving partner, if your dopamine system is worn down, the engine never receives the message to engage. In today's world, our dopamine systems are under relentless assault. Enter what I call the dopamine trap. This explains why, even in relationships filled with love and history, desire can fade away. Not because of a lack of affection, but because the brain's ignition switch has grown unresponsive. Let's use an analogy to make this clearer. Picture your brain's reward system as your palate. If you eat processed fast food loaded with salt, sugar, and fat every day, a crisp, fresh apple starts to taste bland and unexciting. It's not the apple's fault, it's that your taste buds have become dulled. In much the same way, our modern lifestyles have created a kind of fast food diet for our brains. We're bombarded with cheap, high-intensity dopamine hits, endless social media scrolling, binge-watching streaming shows, and most potent of all, high-speed, high-novelty online pornography. This isn't a moral judgment, it's a neurochemical reality. Digital content acts like pure, refined sugar for the brain, flooding us with unnatural levels of stimulation and dopamine. The rewards are so intense that real life, with all its beautiful subtleties, rarely measures up. This leads to what I call the arousal gap. Think of it this way. Your brain has gotten used to those 10 out of 10 dopamine jolts from digital sources. So when you turn to your partner, someone you love deeply but who is familiar, the real-life intimacy registers as a mere 4 out of 10. It's not that you're bored or no longer in love. It's that your brain, now conditioned to crave the highest possible reward, fails to send the go signal for what it perceives as a lesser stimulus. The ignition switch doesn't turn. This is dopamine-driven psychological ED, the missing piece of the puzzle that explains why pills might restore ability but not desire. You're trying to start a high-resistance engine with a dead battery. The result? Frustration, guilt, a sense of brokenness, and most painfully, a growing disconnect from the person you care about most. But what if you're not broken at all? What if your brain is simply running outdated software, operating on settings shaped by a hyper-stimulating digital world? What if you could recalibrate, retrain your mind so that the apple, real-life intimacy, once again tastes delicious, vibrant, and fulfilling? The good news, you absolutely can. The path forward consists of 3 powerful steps, a process I call the recalibration. Step 1. Resensitize your system. A dopamine fast begins by consciously reducing your intake of cheap dopamine hits. This isn't about punishment or morality. It's a strategic reset. Take a real break from high-novelty digital stimuli, especially online porn, for a set period. A week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. By starving your receptors, you allow them to heal and regain sensitivity. When you remove that constant 10 out of 10 stimulus, your brain gradually readjusts. Suddenly, the 4 out of 10 of real life begins to feel like a 7, then an 8, and eventually a 10 again. You're teaching your brain to savor the apple once more. Step 2. Retrain your body, sensate focus. While your brain resets, it's time to reconnect physically. Enter sensate focus, a simple yet profoundly effective clinical technique. Together with your partner, set aside 20 minutes with a clear agreement. There will be no sex, no kissing, no pressure. One partner simply touches and explores, while the other receives and feels. Then you switch roles. This isn't about performance, it's about rediscovering the sensation of touch, the warmth of skin, the comfort of presence. This process stimulates oxytocin, the connection and safety chemical, forging new pathways of intimacy and lowering the performance anxiety that so often short-circuits arousal. You're building a foundation of closeness before sex even enters the conversation. Step 3. Redefine success. Focus on connection. Perhaps the most transformative step is changing how you define success. The gay community has always understood that intimacy is a vast creative landscape, far more than a single act. When success in the bedroom is measured solely by a perfect, long-lasting erection, you create a pass-fail test that breeds anxiety. And anxiety is the #1 killer of dopamine and desire. Instead, redefine success as connection, mutual pleasure, and making your partner feel truly loved and desired. When you remove the pressure of achieving one specific outcome, anxiety dissolves. And paradoxically, arousal and dopamine often return naturally. In conclusion, this isn't about being old or broken or less than. It's about recognizing that we live in a high-tech, high-stimulation world our brains were never designed for. Your body hasn't failed you. Your mind is simply running a script that no longer serves you. The solution isn't just to force the plumbing to work, but to reboot the ignition switch itself. Retrain your brain to find deep, lasting joy in the intimacy that's waiting right beside you. Quiet the noise. Rediscover touch. Redefine what it means to succeed together. That's how you close the arousal gap and reclaim the passionate, connected love you deserve. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our newest episode. And if you're looking to boost your mood and energy naturally, check out the dopamine supplements linked in our bio. They might be just what you need to keep your mind sharp and your spirits high.